Hi, I'm Shadow Witch. Welcome to my circle. And that is my new theme song. And it was written and composed and performed by Jack Riley Neve. And that is spelled Niamh. And you can find them on Spotify, Bandcamp, YouTube. Amazing, amazing musician and songwriter and composer and performer. Please look for their music. Really, I'm just so happy that I know such an amazing person, and their talent is obvious. So, yeah. So that's our new theme song. Yay! I am doing tonight's little episode. It's going to be a short one. This one is going to be on what I wrote on my Facebook page earlier today. I have been seeing some interesting memes and discussions on various and sundry places on social media, and I want to address it. And it has to do with a concept, basically. The magic is inside of you. Okay, granted, the magic is within you. But then they take it a step further, saying you don't need any of the tools or the crystals or the this or the that. It's in your mind. Yeah, no. Sorry. I have been doing this over 40 years. And I have been teaching over 25. I teach the physics of witchcraft. You can have the religious belief of your choice. You can believe in Wicca or Catholicism or Buddhism. I don't care what your religious beliefs are. But to have the understanding that you can just think something and it happens, not really. Now, we do create our reality. Having said that, but we are more masters at creating gunk in our life. People do not find their way to the path of magic truly because everything is going hunky-dory and everything is smooth and wonderful and the best life ever. No. I don't think you're going to find a lot of multi-millionaires practicing magic. Quite the contrary. We tend to find our way to this path. There are those that are looking for spiritual guidance, but most people are looking for help, whether they need to bring financial abundance in, or protection, or love, or the basic needs, happiness, a better job, keeping their family safe, happiness. There's a lot of garbage out there. There's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of stress out there. We seem really good at not only sowing those seeds, growing, and then harvesting that. We are able to create our reality, except we are really good, again, at creating the garbage. When I tell people, you can create the good stuff, the beautiful stuff, they're just like, how? And yes, I understand the concept of an instructor saying the magic is within you. That's great. But then I've heard of the cute little dramatic examples. You've got a group of students and the instructor passes around a wand and everybody looks at the beautiful wand. I made this many, many years ago. And after it comes back to the instructor, he snaps it in half and throws it on the ground. Anybody did that to this wand? Something else would get snapped and thrown to the ground. It wouldn't be my wand. It's a nice concept, but I'd be really interested in what kind of classes would be taught after that, once you convinced your students that basically you don't need anything except what's in your mind. Okay, we are not declassifying secret documents. We all understand how ridiculous that was. We, at our base, are animals. And many, many animals in the wild use tools. I just bought a new pen. I love pens. At any given time, you're going to see me, with a tote bag, and inside that tote bag, people wonder what's in the witch's tote bag. Is it like, Mary Poppins always bringing? Sometimes it is, actually. I have all from a thing of yogurt to kinds of things. I'll bring out tote bags filled with markers and pens and colored pencils, because I'm an artist in my free time, and I'm always sketching or drawing, or I love my pens, but what they break down to is tools. And what I just recently bought was like a $20 pen because it was just amazing. It's just so perfect. We love our tools. So many of us in the magical world, we're either carving candles, or we're making jewelry, or we're making potions, and that is such a beautiful, whether we're kitchen witches and we're making stews and stuff. I guess, no, you don't need tools to eat. I mean, let's be honest. You can go into the forest and either rip the plants out of the ground and start chowing down on it, or find an animal and, do something kind of nasty and kill it and then start, devouring it raw. I prefer the tools in the kitchen. They make everything kind of form and function. To say to a new student, and this is to the instructors out there that are not teaching classes for free, that are starting out with that kind of concept, come in, pay me, sit down, I'm going to teach you however many weeks of classes. And the first thing I want to tell you is that it's all in you. You don't need any of the tools. So I'm going to take your money, and then what? What are we going to do? We're going to just sit and philosophize? No. You need the tools. People want to learn how to do candle magic. People want to learn how to do the spells. People want to, and there is a reason behind them. They create the structure that make your spells manifest. Because if you do not need the incense, you don't need the herbs, you don't need the candles, you don't need the things that actually create and make the vibrational levels heightened and weave together like a tapestry to manifest your magic, then you're basically praying, which is commonly done in many modern mainstream religions. And quite frankly, prayer has a lot to, it's left wanting, let's say it that way. A lot of people find in their lives desperate times where they're not really feeling fulfilled by the prayer, or they feel very helpless because that's all they can do is prayer. And many times people will leave the religion because something happens and the prayer is not answering or coming to them, not giving them. And then when they go to their religious leader, there's all, well, you must have faith. Just got to believe. Okay, so when you have a student and you start with that concept, think about that new student. Okay, well, I have the magic within me and I'm not supposed to use any of the tools and they're not important, and that leaves that new student in a really bad place. They feel lost. They feel confused. Some of them feel stupid because why should I need a book, or why should I need the tools if the master in the class doesn't need... There's also a bit of a power trip going on there. The witch has always used tools. The witch has always used tools. The very first witch in written historic history was the woman of Endor, 1 Samuel's. And King Saul went to see the witch of Endor, the woman of Endor. She was actually a medium. And he wanted to get the prophet Samuel to answer questions. So what did she do? She went to a special, it was an ob. I could be pronouncing it wrong because it was in Hebrew. But it was a hole in the ground. It was a special, specially designed cavern or indentation in the ground that she created, and it was designed in such a way that the spirit would enter it so she could communicate with it. We have used tools in magic since day one. It's lovely to say we have the magic within us. We all have the breath of life within us. We can all say we've been blessed. But if that's all you got, what are you teaching your students? That's all I want to know. Do you know the history of the alchemy? Do you know the history of the wand? Do you know the physics of casting the circle? Do you know how it develops an electromagnetic field? Now, whether or not you want to use those things, that's great. But as I tell my students, can you manifest that which you need? You need to cast that spell because there's something you need in your life. After you cast that spell, after you put the things together, are your spells manifesting? Are they giving you what you want? Because chances are those people are not in your class to hear you say, well, the magic is all within you. Great. I still need a job. I'm still without somebody special in my life. I'm still looking for a place to live. I still need this. My life is lacking. And I feel the magic in me, but now I need somebody to teach me how to put all the building blocks together. And to think that magic is not a science, to think that it doesn't have the building blocks of science, is not understanding what magic is. It's not understanding witchcraft. You might understand Wicca. Let me explain to you Wicca in a nutshell. It consists primarily of 8 holidays, holy days, Wiccanings, which are baby namings, hand fastings, which are weddings, and rites for the dead, or requiem rites, which are funerals. That's it. That's kind of it. Once you start adding spells and you start adding, other types of magical, rituals and all that kind of stuff, that's not Wicca, that's witchcraft. There's a big difference. And I know a lot of people, they don't want to deal with that witchcraft. They just want to do the Wicca, whatever. What we do is science. It is basics. It's a type of physics. And when you place it together properly, it will manifest for you. But whereas an advanced witch that has been doing something for 20, 30, 40 years, consistently, regularly being able to manifest things as she wishes or he wishes to, at times can make things appear miraculously, at times without tools. But that is not to say it's something that can just happen from day one. It's like any other skill. It needs to be developed. And there's nothing wrong with that. What I find more and more these days are people, they want to learn it tomorrow. And there are actually schools that'll take your money and promise you the world. 2 weeks, give me $1,000. I'll give you a certificate that'll tell you you're the greatest witch in the world. Now, no, not me. My school, I would not do that because that's basically a con. It's a fraud. And there are people out there that have hooked on to individuals that have famous names that will sell you a piece of paper for that kind of money too. Do me a favor, or do yourself a favor, save your money and print out your own certificate on your printer. And then get some good books, find some decent websites. A lot of it's for free. These videos are for free. It doesn't have to cost you that kind of money in such a short period of time where you're going to forget most of it anyway. So the whole concept that the magic is within you and you don't need any of those tools, well, ask that particular individual who might tell you this. Okay, well, just say for instance, I want to use some of the tools. Okay, just humor me. How do I use them? What's their history? Where do they come from? I know a good one. Ask somebody if the wand is a creature of air or a creature of fire. That's easy. And if they say, well, it's a creature of fire, because that's what it says in the tarot, they're wrong. It's not. It comes from the trees. it is a creature of air. Ask them if the sword is a creature of fire or a creature of air. And if they say, well, it's a creature of air, because that's what the tarot says. No, that was a typo back when Rider-Waite-Smith put it together. And I know this, I've often had that suspicion. But then I asked one of the greatest scholars in the world of witchcraft and Wicca that I had ever had the, really the true greatest honor of meeting. And that was Mr. Raven Gramassi, who is no longer with us, sadly. But if you'd ever had the opportunity to meet him or his lovely wife, Stephanie, then you were truly, truly blessed. And at one time I was having a private conversation with him, and I was just like, all right, tell me, you've done so much research, so much studying. I've never met a scholar like him. I've never met a scholar that had done as much research, as study, going back to the origins, which is what I like to do. I like to go back to the beginning of the areas I'm interested in, and he went to the beginning of the areas he was interested in. And I asked him about that. I'm like, why is that in the world of Wicca and witchcraft? Wands are always creatures of air, come from the branches of the tree. Swords have been forged in fire, except where it comes to the tarot. Why are those two switched and nowhere else in magic? Is that? He says, yeah. He says, it was basically a typo. I guess Rider-Waite-Smith. Smith was the magical one in the bunch. The translation didn't get across. That is the only place in the world that you'll see those two switched. When I do tarot readings, I use the wands as air. Communication, intellect. I don't care what kind of colors are on the cards. I use the swords for what they're meant for, challenges, difficulties, and the 40 years I've been doing readings, at least my clients say that they're very, very happy with my readings. So, critical thinking, not regurgitating everything that you've been told, looking at the stuff, thinking about it. That's what I'm really proud of my students. They're constantly coming at me with stuff, keeping me on my toes, because they just do not take what I tell them verbatim. They're constantly trying to, you know, make sure it's working for them, make sure it makes sense, it resonates with them, and that's what I want my students to do. Use their minds, use critical thinking, because the magic that works for me might not work for them. The science is going to work the same. Gravity is the same all over the earth. The same with magical principles. They're going to work the same no matter who you are, except certain things can be switched up a little bit to make it more specific to you. So yes, tools are important, as long as you know how to use them, where they come from, their origins, how they were used in history, how they can be used today. So when somebody tells you, oh, that whole area of magic, I mean, it's a big, big part of it, and it's completely irrelevant, forget it. It's a red flag. How much or how little does that particular instructor know? And how much are they charging you? So that's just my little tip for the day. I hope it's helpful. And again, if it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, with my blessings, there's a lot of stuff out there on the internet. Find a site that really, you know, resonates with you, because my stuff might not, and that's okay. I wish you well, blessings, and thanks for visiting my circle. I'm Shadow Witch, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.